Welcome to a Bestow TV production. If you enjoy our content, please click the subscribe button. To get notifications of new releases, ring that bell. Thank you, and away we go.
Creative continuity. We bring the convention to you.
This is Mr. Lobo, and I'm here for Creative Continuity, and we're here at the great Philadelphia Comic-Con with Zordon, aka David Fielding.
Welcome, human. I am Zordon, an interdimensional being caught in a time warp.
And my name is Alpha 5.
This planet is under attack, and I have brought you here to save it.
Oh, yeah, right.
A non-believer. Look behind you at the viewing globe. Your doubts will be answered in the images you see.
It's certainly a pleasure to meet you in person, sir.
Well, it's great to have me on. Yeah, that's awesome.
Or I guess have you back, right? Because we did an interview with you, I think, in
2 years ago. Yeah,
2 years ago, 2015.
Yep. And I came in, I met the original cast, I met the writers, the director, the producers, and they had me stand up on the table. And I went through the script, read the lines, and I remember Austin St. John turning to everybody saying, well, I think we found our Zoltar, which was the name of the character at the time. And then I went home, and a couple hours later, I got the phone call saying I got the part. Awesome. And a week later, I was sitting in a makeup chair, and they shaved all my hair off and painted me green, and they filmed me for like 4.5 hours.
Okay. And so it was 4.5 hours every filming session?
No, they only filmed the character one time. Which was very good for them business-wise, but it sucked for me as an actor. So all the footage that they used throughout the life of the character for 6 seasons or whatever, they just recycled it over and over.
So I guess you were only on set once?
Yeah, I was I met the original cast, the audition, and I met them the day that we filmed. But after that, I never ran into them. I visited the Juice Bar set one time, but they weren't there. They were all filming somewhere else. But I did run into Barbara Goodson and Kerrigan Mahan in the recording studio when we were doing voiceovers, and a couple of the other actors, Paul Schreier, who plays Bulk. But we never really crossed paths. So it was very disappointing from an acting standpoint to be a part of something like this, but not to feel very connected to it.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate because the fans, we all kind of just thought that. Yeah. Zordon was in every episode.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Some fans think that, we lived in the same neighborhood and like went to dinner parties together and stuff like that, but it's like, I lost touch with them.
Your perspective on it is from a slightly outsider's perspective.
Yeah, in a sense, because the way they filmed the character, they only filmed him one day, so I was never on set with them, so didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time around the actors. Which is a shame, but that's the way the show is put together, and it
was economical probably to do it that way for them.
Yeah, from a business standpoint, and I left the show early on too, so I didn't get to spend a lot of time to get to know everybody. So
they just blurred out your mouth and just put whatever dialogue.
Yeah, whatever was what needed to be said for the episode was what I would get for the lines, and. There were no lips to match, so they didn't have to worry about anything like that.
I commend your latest invention, Billy. Not only have you created a communicator, but you've also tapped into the command center's teleportation unit. With proper adjustments, it will allow you to teleport here in an emergency. But until Alpha can reprogram it, it'll serve as a two-way communication link between the command center and each other, from wherever you are.
This is easy. I just have to reflex the... Uh-oh.
Now, were you in tight with the core of Saban in some way? Is that how you got involved with that?
No, I mean, I had just recently moved to LA. I'd only been there for like 2 months, and a college friend that from my undergraduate was actually working at Saban as a second unit director or second AD for the pilot that they were shooting, and had called me down for the audition. So that's how I got my foot in the door. Yeah.
And you said there were only a couple other people who were up for it, right?
When I was there, my memory, the best of my recollection, it was just myself and another gentleman. They had called us in.
Wow.
And told us that, because if you've talked to the other actors, they went through weeks of auditions.
Huge cattle call, thousands of people coming out.
Me and this guy, it was just like, we're going to cast it tonight and shoot it next week. And we're like, okay.
Did you have any reservations about shaving your head?
I did not, because I knew at that point my hair was going to grow back. I didn't lose it all right away. I was perfectly fine with it. My girlfriend at the time wasn't too happy about it, but...
And why did they make you like green? I mean, because the character isn't really technically that kind of green, right?
Well, no, I mean, they had to use the green paint and a green background to film them, so none of the rest of me would show up.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm
So
not sure.
it was more to paint you out, so they could
Correct.
they could key out what was green and
Correct.
just have your face floating there.
That's correct. Yes.
Now I understand. So that was all. So the green makeup really wasn't for your face; it was for everything else.
Everything else, correct.
Wow. And did it just get stuck? I mean, did it wash off?
Yeah, it came off. I mean, I think I might have been peeling some off a day or two later, but for the most part, it all
A little
came
green around the collar for a couple days.
off. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a job well done. The 5 of you have come together to form as fine a group of superheroes as there has ever been. You've been through an extraordinary experience together. You need each other now, and the world needs you.
Power Rangers!
What are some other things that you've worked on? I mean, what are your experiences in that world?
Well, I didn't do too much for TV and film after that. I went into the video game industry and worked as a video game tester, designer, and voice artist. So, and it's only recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, that I've started to do much more on-camera stuff. So,
What voices have you done in games?
these were all like in the early 2000s, and there were a lot of real-time strategy games that I did voices for individual units. I did some D&D games where I did voices for characters. And there's a series of city-building games in the early 2000s from Impressions, Zeus, Poseidon, those kind of and I did voices for those. I worked on designing scenarios or dialogue for characters and stuff to say, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you did write things for characters to say?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you are a writer.
I am a writer, yes. That's
So
right.
what are some things that you've written?
Well, I self-published my superhero novel, Vigilance, and that's out there on Amazon at my author page. I've also had a number of short stories that have been published in various anthologies. They sometimes are steampunk superhero stories or some paranormal or some other speculative fiction.
So you're kind of a genre fan then as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love this picture of you with the tape on your face. Could we hold that up for a second?
Sure.
It says, "No hate," right? And this was done for anti-bullying campaign?
Correct.
Or?
Yeah, Adam Buska and his company No Hate it's an anti-bullying, anti-discrimination campaign.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I've noticed there's a lot of Power Rangers here today at the Great Philadelphia Comic Con, and I keep seeing at their tables this symbol, this triangle, and the words "the Order."
The Order.
It's so cryptic. I have to know. I've got to know what the Order is. I think the fans want to know.
Of
I think
course.
that's where they're intrigued. What is the Order?
The Order is the brainchild of Karen Ashley. She has been trying to put together a project for the last 10 years or so to try to get all of her ex-Ranger friends in together to work on a project so that the fans would get to see us all working together at the same time.
Which would be wonderful.
And Karen found out through Austin St. John that I was a pretty good writer, so she contacted me and we started bouncing ideas back and forth, and pretty quickly found out that we had a really, really great back and forth writing relationship. Karen would write a little, I would write some, she would write some more, and we really flowed really well. And we banded a couple of ideas about how we wanted to go through things, and then by the end of October 2015, I think it was, we had a first draft of the script, and Karen approached all the other Ranger actors that we would hoping to be in part of it, and invited them to take part of the project, and they all got very excited, and they read the script and got even more excited. And so it's basically going to be this great chance for the fans to see Ranger actors in different roles. It's a much more adult action adventure type project.
It seems a little, I mean, by the imagery, a little Cloak and Dagger sort of stuff.
Very Cloak and Dagger.
Mm-hmm.
What we've come up with is that the Rangers are, the actors themselves are part of a highly trained elite group called the Order, who travel around the globe and fix trouble spots. So they're not affiliated with any government, so Some governments see them, turn a blind eye to them and see them as a force of good. Other governments may think that they're terrorists. But they're very highly trained and very highly skilled. And at some point during the film, there's a split that happens, and you have these guys fighting against one another. So
they're kind of like the Black Ops Rangers.
That's right.
Wow.
And you're going to see these guys for the first time, Ranger fighting Rangers. So.
We're moving into position now.
I know that was a very short amount of time, your actual work on the Power Rangers, but does any dialogue stick in your head, like something you had to say like 25 times
Oh,
and you
yes,
just couldn't spit
of
it out?
Yes. The one thing that everybody requests is always Zordon.
May the power protect you. Always.
This is Mr. Lobo signing off for Creative Continuity.
Watch Creative Continuity, Cartoons, Con Rewind, Mr. Lobo Does, and more on this channel.
Creative Continuity. We bring the convention to you.